Welcome back. The Paris Club refund and the workers' salaries is our focus at this time on the show. And I'm being joined by Bolaji Ogunseye. He's the sustainable development expert. He joins us on Sunrise Daily to look at this. We have the last and final tranche that's been released. 2 states, only 27 of them have been captured in this last tranche. But the main concern is that some states allegedly have not been able to use these monies for what it is stipulated in the first place, i.e. 70% of that should go to paying workers' salaries and 30% goes to capital projects. Do you think that we're still at that same point where governors are failing to utilize these monies appropriately according to the stipulated guidelines by Mr. President?
Well, good morning. Well, obviously, you have a whole, lineup of performances across the 36 states. So obviously, you're not looking at a situation where every governor has misused those funds. What you're going to find is, some have misused them more, others have used them fairly well, and you're not likely to get any perfection anyway because of the reign of impunity in governance generally, governor level, every level.
But should that be the case?
But no, where I'm going is what I think would have happened, that would have been different, in the spectrum of usage. There would have been different, levels of abuses and levels of use and everything. That's the, if you like, background situation. Now, what would have happened with the likely majority who would not have used the money, as properly as was intended, would have been that the process of giving the money, okay, and the understanding is written, but the spirit and especially the process would probably not have been well handled. And this is what I mean. We know ourselves. We know how this country operates. We know what's going on in governance. We know a lot of things that are wrong. The persistent challenge for leaders in government in Nigeria and for the entire system is for us to always seek the means and methods by which we restrain, restrict, minimize abuse in all forms, but especially of funds, public funds, okay, in the process of governing. That, for me, continues to be a recurring factor. That is, anytime we want to do something, we know almost instinctively that people will try to go for it and grab out of it and think. So we must accompany every such effort with sound, thorough design mechanisms, means and methods by which, because we know people are going to lose this money, we are going to package all these, processes and limitations in it. One of it could be, if you ask me, it's not could be. Was it up to me? Exactly what I will do is what I'm telling you. The federal government is giving this money. When somebody wants to take money from you, the ace is still with you, the power is with you. I will give as much condition, as many conditions as I can possibly give to ensure that the money is properly used, because I know it's likely to be not properly used. And one thing for sure that I will do will be, you constitute a monitoring, okay, a monitoring and scrutiny team. Bring somebody from the banking sector, not that they're great, but bring somebody from the banking sector, bring somebody from the intellectual sector, bring somebody from chartered accountant sector, bring somebody, and then take people from other states that are not, if I'm giving money to Cross River, for example, or Taraba, I'm going to put people, the people I'll bring from state governments or whoever I'll bring, the professionals, the technocrats, are not going to be from that state. Do you understand? You bring people from even the faith-based organization, not because each of these institutions is perfect, but if you can bring together this sort of team comprised of diverse interests, no governor will be able to bribe all of these people at the same time, and put them in every state and give them, you go to the National Assembly or wherever and try to get an enabling law to do this, okay, before you give them that money, because you know what will happen. And then you put them there and you give very clear terms of reference, and the governor has a duty, otherwise you'll be committing a crime, to comply with the terms of reference given to that. You put that in all the 36 states. Just compose them, maybe a 10-person team, a 7-person team, but drawn from different areas from the industrial sector, what do you call them, manufacturer association. Just put all these people, students union, even from the workers, from this, what do you call it, workers union, labor unions.
If that's going to be the formula, the winning formula to ensure that this works, people will argue that perhaps this will take too long, because this money was released because of the Christmas season and just so that workers would get paid. Is it so difficult for governors to say, this money is meant to pay the workers and pensioners, and I will pay them?
Is it every time that the money, the Paris Club funds are released at Christmas? It's not. A couple of them would have been released that are not Christmas time. Am I correct? Or all of them have always been released at Christmas time? I don't think so.
But this particular one
was
meant to help them at least have that lavish celebration.
You see, I was talking wholesale. That the whole process of giving this money from day one, that you should have padded the whole giving, okay, with means and methods, mechanisms that would have made, you see, there are things that are done in the private sector. Even if you go in as an armed robber, you won't be able to practice armed robbery there, okay, because the system constrains you. I've been in the private sector as a manager somewhere in this country when I came back. And I did something that looked completely innocent. One of my staff traveled or something, or I traveled with him. I overlooked it and said, it nearly brought down the whole roof on my head. But I was near in the place. It got up to the level, I think, the chief executive. You understand? Honestly, totally innocent. Just overlook. You retire money where you go and things and stuff. And in this case, I didn't even spend my own money. But the point is, I didn't follow the process. Do you understand? I hadn't stolen anybody. It's not even serious money, just tens of thousands. But I mean, the way the system, they call it a trigger. There's a trigger in the system once something is out of line. I couldn't believe, but it told me something. Do you understand? That where you have institutions, and the details within those institutions are working, and if you breach any of those details, the system will trigger itself. And we need this in public governance. It doesn't take too much time, by the way. It doesn't.
So, if I'm coming here, our colleague in Abuja is going to ask a question, but before he does, let me ask you this. There are those who argue, the school of thought who says that the civil service in Nigeria is a system that is very detailed. I'll give you an example, that if a letter is sent to any part of the civil service, it can be traced because it's coded. So if there's a trigger, it can be picked up easily. So there is a system that is built to work. Why is it not working? People, right?
Well, I'll put the
question. So it could also happen in the public sector.
I'll put the question differently. We used to have a public service in this country in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 40s when they were starting and things, right? And systems were put in place to work. And those systems worked, yeah? 70, 80%. When the pump sex of those days. So my own question would be, why was the system working then?
And not working now.
And not working now. That would be the question. It's not, why it's not. We know why it's not working. And that's part of my own frustration too. 90% of the things tormenting this nation, tormenting good governance, tormenting the prospects for development, you know, I know, all of us know. Only yesterday I was giving the example. All of us gladly, happily, joyously go to our banks. They give you bacteria-infested, dirty, smelly, embarrassing, you understand, unhealthy notes. We all collect. They are so dirty you can't believe it. Okay? Yet, you guys, do you not know where that is coming from? Is it because this system doesn't print new money anymore? Is it because we don't have fresh mint? No. And then you also know that whereas Mr. and Mrs. average citizen will not get clean money from our banks, as soon as you get to parties, you get clean money. You all know that we have even allowed, we are living at peace with the creation of an illegal market, yeah, in the sale of the fresh mint that you collect at the bank is now being sold to you in exchange for the unusable ones that somehow some interest are still keeping in the system. Do you not know? What do we do? So it's a capacity to not solve problems. That's our challenge. Do you understand? It's a capacity, it's grown into a culture. Okay? It's grown into a self-sustaining instinct. Okay? In those who run government and those of us who interface with them. I can give you a list of 10 things you wonder which normal, rational society would have been living with this thing for 20 years, 25 years, and we haven't changed them. So that is the fundamental question.